Where do you want to be by the end of 2026?
Oh, fuck, I don't know that. End goal, Jesus.
December this time next year, realistically.
Realistically, okay.
Let me
cool.
add that in first.
Do you know what, let me move some of this stuff away, because you said something about moving it. So let's sorry, I'm chatting to Adobe about subscription issues, and I've got an HR issue, and I've got something finance going on, so there's a lot going on. What do I want to achieve in 2026? I think I said this the other day. I did say this the other day, because I remember seeing it, because it's so interesting for me now that I look at socials, I see a comment or the odd comment, or I just see that I look at a video, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that video, and I watch the video, and there's a video of me that you've done that comes back up, and I saw one the other day, I thought, what an arrogant motherfucker. It was not so much arrogant, but it felt so basic, which was me saying, people overestimate what they can achieve in a year, but underestimate what they can achieve in 10. And it just felt really wooden when I said it like that, but that is the reality. So I think that I have recognized that what you can achieve in a year is never going to be as much as you think you can, and therefore plan in decades rather than in years. Saying that, I know exactly what I need to do in the first quarter, but I'm going to split this into the three areas in the way that I look at it, in terms of I'm going to look at family, I'm going to look at work, and I'm going to look at health. I'm probably not in that order. So from a family perspective, I've got to a point where my children are now older, they're nearly 15 and 13, they're home educated, I say they're relatively self-sufficient. I don't know that, in fairness. I'm just going with what Emma tells me, because she's obviously with them doing home ed. But certainly from seeing it the last few weeks, that is definitely happening, which is freeing up Emma's time a little bit. But I want to make sure I spend more time with them now in their teenage years, probably than I did in their childhood years. Because I think they'll get a lot more from me now. I think I've got a lot more to give to teenage children than I do to little children. And I also think that they are at a stage where they need and want that. So I'm certainly going to be spending more time with my children, but that doesn't mean spending more time with my children like the evenings or the weekends, just spending more time with my children in general. And actually, Jonah spends a fair bit of time coming to work into different meetings. He's come and looked at different businesses we're looking potentially at buying or investing into. He came to a marketing meeting the other day where I went external and we're talking about websites. So kind of spending time with them in that sense as well. But also last night I just played Call of Duty with Jonah for 3 hours, which was pretty cool. From a health perspective, I'm really consciously trying to get myself down to a comfortable 87 kilos. So that's a goal. Bit challenging after Christmas, but it's a goal. And I also want to make sure that I am improving both my physical fitness, but also my mental fitness, because I was really, really stressed over Christmas. I was saying to Emma, I think I'm having a heart attack. And that went on for 3 days. And after 3 days, she was basically like, you're clearly not having a heart attack because it's been happening for 3 days. And that was because I was stressed. And there was one specific thing that tipped me over the edge, that really, every time I thought about it, I could feel myself now really getting up there. And I was like, I need to make sure those things don't happen. And how do I do that? So that's kind of it from a health-wise, physical health, but also mental health. Those are two massive things. And more sport, more exercise, more fitness, good diet, and being able to stay fit and healthy so I can drink. That's a goal. 2 seconds, I just need to read that. Sorry, I'm just dealing with I can't get the subscription right in Abdo for our team. So I'm having to literally speak to the support team being like, no, this person only needs this. So rather than buy them a full license for every program, I just need a singular license for this program, and just trying to move that around. It shouldn't be as complicated as going forward. And then work-wise, 3 months. The next 3 months for me, January through to March, is going to be spent really planning, and building the development timeline for the developments, effectively, for the prisons. We are at a stage where we own nearly 20 acres of real estate. I think it's about 18 and a half acres of real estate, and we use about 20% of it. So there is a huge amount of work I need to do there, and that really now has to come along the lines of stop thinking what you can get done in a year and start thinking what you can get done in 10 years and what that's going to look like. So I need to really focus on that quite tightly, and that's my key aim over the next 3 months, is to really focus in on that and get that really clearly nailed down. And there's 3 completely separate projects that I'm going to run simultaneously, or we're going to run simultaneously, so all at the same time, because that's what simultaneously means. For those that didn't know, Jordan, I can just see Jordan just like shaking his head behind the camera. Sorry, I'm distracted by this. I need to run those timelines, and I need to get that planned, so that's really key for me. The next thing is giving the support to the attraction division where it needs it. So at the moment, I'm helping to build Prison Break and rebuild Prison Break and rewrite some of those bits. So I need to spend some time in that world. We are in the process of handing off finance processes and the whole financial journey, other than the bits that we have in-house through our financial controlling system, to our accounting team. So that's got to happen over the next 3 months. That's going to be a journey, but that should happen in the first quarter. So that will give us much more freedom and more intelligence around our financial positioning, and that will then filter down through our COO and our attraction directors and our attraction managers and the rest of the teams to be able to really enable them and empower them to do more. I really want to focus on this sort of stuff. So the work that we're doing in terms of not so much the podcasting, because whilst I really, really want to do that, that's kind of taking a secondary, but more of this kind of actual filming. And the conversation I had with Jordan earlier, which is why this is a little bit bitty, was he said to me, when can we film, or can we film your New Year's like resolutions? I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of busy. He's like, all right. I was like, well, a different day. And I'm like, no, do you know what? We've got to spin this the other way. It doesn't work with Jordan coming in going, could we film this today? And then me going, well, I can't really do it now, let's do it later, and trying to block times, because then what happens is everything's, I think, a bit wooden, it's a bit fixed, kind of me sat on a sofa explaining things and trying to focus. What I feel is more beneficial, or certainly where we should start, is Jordan almost coming in with a camera and going, hey, I want to do this. And me going, okay, I'm kind of in the middle of something right now, but okay, because that's the reality of it. And, oh shit. Example one, well, I mean, he just needs me to approve something. So apparently he's just sent me an email. So let me just sign this off super fast in the approval portal, which sounds very, very posh. Okay, cool. I think he's sorted. I think he's done. So, so I feel that that's more, it's probably going to be clunkier for the viewer and harder for Jordan to edit, but I feel you'll at least get the reality of what's going on better and less not staged, but less kind of prepared. I think that's something I would really like us to get right. I'd also really like us to just get moving on some of the shows, some of the content. I think that what we do as a business is really interesting. I think it's really different. And I think I have so many conversations and see so many things that are quite exciting. I always look and go, God, if people were watching this, they would love it. So I think getting Jordan to capture more, not just of me, but of the business as well. So in that Cove Group world will be really exciting. Even just over the last month, Jordan's been recording something, been looking at a business, been trying to buy something, structuring a deal, putting it all together, viewings, visits, all the stuff that comes with it, the stresses, the challenges, the disruption, but also the fun, the excitement, and that kind of, are we going to get there? And I don't know if we will. I don't think we will. I've gone from, I think 90% we're going to get there, all the way back down the other way now. And I think 10%, I know, I've not told you, but I think we're at 10%. I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm really a little disappointed by that, especially because I think we're going to miss out on it by about 200 grand. But at the same time, I'm going, but that means I don't have to change my focus, and I can spend all of my focus here for the time being, or at least I can narrow. So I think that's a good place to be. I'm still very much focusing in the 3 areas. I think that's the key thing for me: family, work, health. got a very clear family guideline of what I want to try and do. I've got a very clear health guideline of what I want to try and do. I'm supposed to get my black belt in June for kickboxing. We'll see if that happens or not. And I think from a work perspective, I've got very clearly the next 3 months laid out. But I think past that, I don't know yet. And those 3 months are going to very much dictate that. It's not a goal for the end of the year. It's just a constant goal, which is to be in a position where every single month we're achieving our budget numbers, and therefore we know, we're not necessarily in loads of profit, or some months we are, some months we aren't, but we know where we are, that we're achieving the numbers that we're setting, because it's about consistency. Don't get me wrong, I love the months where the sales team pick up the phone and are like, hey, guess what? We've just done a 100 grand sale and it's gonna throw us this much over our budget this month. I love those months, they're great. But I love consistency more. So I'm not saying to the sales team, it's not a license to the sales team to don't do it, far from it. It's about consistency, and that's across the board. That's not just in terms of sales and numbers through the board, it's consistency of every single person within the business showing up for every single shift, for every single work day, and putting in that effort that makes you great, that makes Cove Group great, and doing that consistently. And those are choices that our staff have, and those are choices that our business has, and those things we can affect. And I think that finishing this, my next week and a half is to really get the culture of Cove Group out there, and not just out to our employees, but out to the world. So I'm going to launch it both internally and externally at the same time. And I'm really pleased with where it is. And the last 5 people that have left, when we conduct the exit interviews, and I've been seeing the exit interviews, the last 5 people, they all get asked the same question. Do you know what the Cove Group values are? And every single one of them, other than one, has said no. In fairness, the only one that said yes has been Chloe, who's been working so closely with me whilst I've been doing it, so she's been seeing it. But they've all said no. Then they're asked about each individual value and whether we deliver it and how we deliver that. And every single one of them has said, yes, you absolutely deliver that, and this is how you do it. And in some instances, this is how you do it in spades. And what that's really said to me is, we live and breathe and die, and we deliver on our values, but our people don't know what they are. And I think that makes it harder for them to show up and do their job amazingly well every single day, because the core value isn't behind it. And whilst we deliver everything, they do need to know what that is. So that's going to be my next week and a half at least, just really getting that in internally and externally, and opening it up to, I guess, challenge. But I'm all up for that. So that's kind of where I'm at. So sorry, Jordan, I can't give you, I want to be at this point at the end of the year, because I think so much moves in our world, as you know from seeing it. Something could happen or could not happen that will completely change the next 12 months. So it's hard for me to sit here and stand here and go, this is what we're going to do. But I do know what the next 3 months looks like. And at the moment, I feel like that's important. And I know what the next 10 years looks like. And I know what the vision is for each of those. What I would like to do, and next week, we're going to do a couple of things. I'm going to do a couple of things. One thing I'm going to do next week, which I'm really excited about, and I don't know how it's going to go, and it's probably going to take a whole day, so apologies, but I'm going to sort out all of these shelves. So I'm actually going to take everything off these shelves. I'm going to go through it all, and I'm going to put it all back on a bit neater and a bit more organized. But obviously when I go through it, I'll be able to talk about where it's come from, why it's here, what it's about, and then put it back up. And I think there's some really cool stories embedded in this last 15 years of stuff. So that's something I'm really looking forward to doing next year. And I think that's a really, really nice start to the new year. And then the other thing I want to do is spend time talking about what I want to do with Shepton Prison, Shrewsbury Prison, and Peterhead Prison, and what each of those journeys and timelines looks like. Because again, I think that would be really cool, both internally and externally. And I'm just sending a message, which I'm going to exactly say the same thing, which is, that's it, thank you.